said when he was depressed and poor, he could tell himself, if only I had more money, all my problems would go away. I just need to go out and make more money. And once I have more money, all of my depression, all of my doubts will go away. And then he said he lost hope because he couldn't say, if only I had more money. Even if it can solve some problems, but not the biggest ones, the hole that you're trying to fill, the psychological hole that you're trying to fill is probably not going to be filled with money.
But the deeper thing to ask yourself is, what is the hole that money is trying to fill for
Yes.
me?
And so a lot of what is with finance is that it's not necessarily that these things will make you happier. If you were to have more money, it's not necessarily that you would be happier. And that when most people think, oh, if only I had a bigger house, then I'd be happy. And when you imagine yourself taking a fancy vacation, you imagine how happy you would be. The emotion that you're actually thinking about is not happiness, it's contentment. If I imagine myself in Hawaii with my kids next year, and I'm just envisioning that in my head, I can come up with this emotion inside and be like, oh, that would be great. I would be so happy with that. But
Right.
actually the emotion that I'm envisioning is being content with that. It's being in Hawaii and saying, this is enough. This is all I want. I don't want anything else. What actually happens to people if they do go to Hawaii with their kids is they're sitting on the beach and they say, if only I had stayed at the nicer hotel. If only we had stayed for a couple days longer. If only we had eaten at the nicer restaurant last night. How come those people got a better room? How come they got better beach chairs? And so you're not actually content with the experience that you're having. And so when you realize that what you're actually chasing is contentment, you're not chasing more. You're chasing just, I just want to be happy with what I have. The first step is realizing that a lot of your money woes and a lot of what you're feeling in terms of falling behind and a lot of your gap between what you have and what you want is solely a factor of your expectations. To me, the noble goal, what it's always been for myself, and I think this is true for the majority of people, is independence. I have no desire to be rich in the sense of a giant house, flashy cars. I have no desire to live that life. I want to be independent. I want to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. And I'm using money as a tool to foster that. Now, that's very different from saying, I want a bigger house or I want a house. It's a goal of independence. And my grandmother-in-law, who had no money, was completely independent. She was beholden to no one else's influence but her own. And she lived an amazing life because of it. There are billionaires, there are decabillionaires out there who are completely beholden to the opinions and the influence of other people. And so there are a lot of people for whom money is a financial asset, but it's a psychological liability. It completely controls their identity and who they are. And there's other people who actually don't have that much money. They have no psychological liability. They're in complete control over their personality and their goals.